We begin our trip by meeting Larry at LaGuardia and taking a taxi into Manhattan. Our late flight schedule allowed us to enjoy a wonderful meal at Carmine's near Times Square before heading back to the airport. The Egypt Air flight was nearly empty due to terrorist activities in Egypt. We could sleep across 5 seats in the center aisle. After landing in Cairo, as soon as we step into the terminal, we are met by an Egyptian man who asks for our passports, and as if on cue, all the lights in the terminal go out and the man is gone. A minute later, our tour guide locates us in the dark terminal and proceeds to panic because we had given the man our passports, and he quickly disappears back into the darkness. He returns a few minutes later with our passports and escorts us to the waiting van. We drive to our hotel to drop off our luggage, register for the night, and we immediately head off again. We're off to see the Sound and Light show at the Giza Plateau. This will be the only time during our stay in Cairo when the show will be in English.
And the voice of the desert has crossed the centuries.
The first voice we hear is the Sphinx, recalling the ancient history of Egypt.
With each new dawn, I see the sun god rise on the far bank of the Nile. His first ray is for my face, which is turned towards him. And for 5,000 years, I have seen all the suns men can remember come up in the sky. I saw the history of Egypt in its first glow, as tomorrow I shall see the east burning with a new flame. I am the faithful warden at the foot of his Lord, so vigilant, so near him that he gave me his face for my own. I am a pharaoh's companion, and I am he, the pharaoh. Through the ages, I received many names from the people who came to me in adoration. But the name which has remained with me is that given to me by a Greek traveler, the father of history, Herodotus. He called me Sphinx, as if I were from his land, and that name is now mine.
Tomb of Cheops, pharaoh of the 4th dynasty, 4,500 years ago. Here is the great pyramid which he built to defend himself against death.
455 feet high. He achieved the building of the highest monument then known to man. The area it covers is vast enough to hold St. Peter's Cathedral in Rome, the cathedrals of Florence and Milan, Westminster Abbey and St. Paul's. 3 million blocks of stone, some of them weighing 30 tons, were assembled by Cheops' faithful workmen to achieve this fabulous construction. At the center of it, the pharaoh planned his inner chamber, where his mummy was to lie in splendor for eternity.
At the foot of him is a small ivory figure, showing a noble face, the nose aquiline, the jaw determined, and the hieroglyphs representing the name he gave to his pyramid. Cheops dominates the horizon.
The Pyramid of Khephren. It too bears an inscription, Khephren is great. Yet, out of respect for his father Cheops, Khephren built his pyramid on a slightly smaller scale. Each side of the base measuring 710 feet, the angle being 52 degrees, it reaches a height of 445 feet. The brilliant covering of polished limestone on the apex originally extended over all four sides, adding to the magnificence of the pyramid.
The face of Khephren has come down to us sculpted in green diorite streaked with white, a rare stone he brought back from an expedition. Here he is, close to us, in the guise of the Sphinx, carved in rock near his tomb. Mycerinus.
A third monumental tomb was soon to complete this immense funeral site of Giza and make it one of the wonders of the world. Though smaller, the Pyramid of Mycerinus is perhaps the most impressive for being the culminating point of a vast design. Having built it, the workmen climbed down from its granite flanks and, laying down their tools, looked up with wonderment.
I saw Antony and Cleopatra pass, Alexander, Caesar, and Napoleon paused at my feet. I saw the ambitious dreams of conquerors whirling like dead leaves. As my motto, I chose an Arab saying, "The world fears time, but time fears the pyramids."
It was built in a pharaoh's lifetime by 100,000 workmen, united in a mighty surge of faith. Each stone averaged 2.5 tons in weight. 3 million blocks were hoisted up and laid one upon the other. The finest ones of pure granite were dug up in the quarries of Aswan, whence they came by boat, carried by the flooding of the Nile. The movement of these great waters drove the farmers from their inundated fields to the Plateau of Giza, where they joined the army of laborers and built. These stones were hauled singly on earth mounds, banked higher and higher as the edifice grew.
There, at my feet, on this vast site, with mankind still in its infancy, walked and worked surveyors, geometers, astronomers to whom no star was unknown, engineers, architects, a whole people, while the rest of the world hunted wild beasts and sheltered in caves.
It was in 1799, near Rosetta. One of Napoleon's officers discovered a stone, a monolith, bearing an edict issued by Ptolemy. The inscription was in Greek characters and hieroglyphs. This was the cornerstone of Egyptology.
True, it still remained to interpret its message. First, Champollion, the true father of Egyptian philology. He was so inspired as to decipher the lost tongue of ancient Egypt from a few mysterious hieroglyphs.
Then it was like a resurrection. All at once,
from the funerary chambers to the peaks of the pyramids, hieroglyphs were born to a new life. Herons, lotus flowers, fishes, hares and drakes, the mysterious characters suddenly woke up, fluttered and sang like creatures of the fields as the sun rises. It is as if in answer to a celestial call of trumpets, old Egypt had risen from its grave, young and immortal. Young, immortal, and rich in beauty, like Nefertiti.
In the course of time, only human achievements crumble and fall. But the spirit which conceived these monuments cannot perish.
After that interesting start to our trip, we are ready to call it a day, but not until we navigate through the incredible Cairo traffic, with continuously blowing horns a way of life. The Egyptian Museum opened in 1902. It contains some 150,000 artifacts produced over a period of more than 5,000 years. The first item we see is called a Narmer palette. It was made 5,000 years ago, and it shows the ruler Narmer unifying Upper and Lower Egypt. Here the pharaoh Menkaure is shown wearing the white crown of Upper Egypt and a pleated kilt. All kings had to be represented in the royal position, with colorful headdress, false straight beard, holding something in the hand, either a handkerchief or roll of papyrus, wearing the royal skirt called shin deeth. Both Upper and Lower Egypt were unified at the time of this king. In hieroglyphics, it's called the Sematawi, symbolized by the lotus and papyrus, the unification between the two lands. If you're standing in front of the statue, you can't see what's behind the head. It's the falcon, representing the god Horus, son of Isis and Osiris. The statue was discovered in a pit inside Khafre's Valley Temple, which we will visit tomorrow. Ka-Aper was a high priest in Saqqara during the 5th dynasty. Made of sycamore, it's one of the most highly regarded works from the Old Kingdom. A painted limestone statue found in Saqqara depicts Seneb with his wife and children by his side, his wife holding her arm around his shoulder, offering her love to her husband. The children are represented with a single lock of hair on the male and one finger in the mouth. The whole thing is made from one block and it was found inside the rock in the back. A pharaoh's tomb contained 365 Ushabti figurines. They were intended to be the king's servants in the afterlife. A multitude of godly figurines in this display show the diverse artistic talents of the ancient Egyptians. Faience is a glazed, non-clay ceramic material composed of crushed quartz with small amounts of lime and ground copper as a colorant. The Art Deco style of this Hathor ceramic is timeless in its beauty. The tomb painting known as the Mitam Geese is considered to be an Egyptian masterpiece. The hieroglyphs on both sides of Rahotep identify him as a high priest and Heliopolis. Nofret's hieroglyphs read, "She who knows the king Rahotep." Our guide explains the meaning of the different beard shapes we will see on various statues or paintings. If the beard is straight, that means the king was alive. If it's curled, then it's either a god or the king was dead when the sculpture was made. Can you pronounce her name? Hatshepsut or Hatshepsut. She was the stepmother of Thutmose III. When she took over the throne, she said, "I'm not only a queen, but I'm also a king." And she had to be represented in this very masculine way. The Book of the Dead were a collection of spells that were provided for the deceased in the form of a papyrus scroll. The spells were supposed to assist the pharaoh to safely reach the netherworld. The treasures of King Tut were discovered by Howard Carter in 1922 in the Valley of the Kings.
Now when he was a young man, he never thought he'd see people stand in line to see the boy king. How to get so funky? Did you do the monkey? Born in Arizona, moved to Babylonia, King Now if I'd known they'd line up just to see him, I'd taken all my money and bought me a museum. Buried with a donkey. He's my favorite honky. Born in Arizona, moved to Babylonia, King
The second coffin is made from gold sheet and inlaid with thousands of colored tiles made from glass paste. Each tile was made to fit and glued in place. The technique is called cloisonne.
He gave his life for tourism. Golden idol. He's an Egyptian. They're selling you.
King Tut's funerary mask is made of gold sheet weighing 24 pounds. The deep blue highlights are made from a glass paste and lapis lazuli. The eyes are inlaid with quartz and obsidian.
Got a condo made of stoner.
To To try and comprehend the magnitude of the discovery and the great quantity of items found, consider this fact. It took Howard Carter 10 years to empty the small rooms. The inner coffin is made from 240 pounds of solid gold sheet, with an estimated value of $2.3 million if melted down. The artistry rivals anything that could be produced today. It is 73 inches long by 20 inches wide by 20 inches deep. The magnificent canopic shrine was found in the treasury room facing the burial chamber. The 4 elegant statues on each side of the shrine depict the goddesses Isis, Nephthys, Neith, and Selkis. The heads of the statues are turned slightly to the left or to the right, an innovative style of the Amarna period. They all wear caps from which long hair emerges to drape down their backs. The shrine contained a masterpiece canopic chest made of alabaster, with 4 beautifully carved heads as stoppers. Inside the chest, Howard Carter found 4 miniature coffins, exact replicas of the second coffin in which King Tut was buried. This is an outstanding masterpiece of gold craftsmanship. The coffins contain the internal organs of the pharaoh. A royal couch with the head of a hybrid Great Dane was probably a gift from a neighboring country. It's covered in gold leaf, with its open mouth and ivory teeth give it a fearsome look. Howard Carter discovered this beautiful chalice-shaped lamp carved from translucent calcite. The chalice is in the form of a lotus flower and is flanked by the god He, kneeling on papyrus plants and holding an Ankh sign next to the cartouche of King Tut. When the lamp was lit, a sophisticated painted scene would appear. The surprising effect is achieved by means of a smaller cup inside. When Carter broke through the wall of the burial chamber, he saw this imposing wood shrine. The royal throne is made of wood covered in gold leaf. The beautifully crafted scene on the back is made of silver, carnelian, and lapis lazuli. Anubis was the god of embalming and is usually represented in the form of a man with the head of a jackal. Here he is shown as a full jackal with upright ears, giving it an air of alert vigilance. It's made of wood which was plastered and painted with black resin. 2 statues of the boy king stood on both sides of the burial chamber entrance. They show him holding a mace in one hand and a long staff in the other. We leave the museum a little overwhelmed from everything we had just seen, and thankful that we had a driver who could navigate the busy streets. A few miles from the museum, we stopped to visit St. Sargius Church. Built on the spot where the Holy Family of Joseph, Mary, and the infant Jesus rested at the end of their journey into Egypt. Papyrus is a plant that grew in abundance along the banks of the Nile. The ancient Egyptians worshipped this plant because it reminded them of the sun rays and the sun god Ra. The stalk from the plant was used to make paper. First the stalk is cut to length and the outer bark is peeled off. This outer bark is very strong, and it was used to make baskets, sandals, and hats. The inner core is then sliced into thin strips. This inner core is still 90% water, so it breaks easily. By using a wooden mallet and a rolling pin, the water is gently removed from the strips without destroying the fibers. The strips are now soft and pliable. The strips are then placed back into water for 6 days to reduce the sugar content from 90% to 10%. This 10% sugar content is ideal for the sugar to act as a natural glue. After 6 days, the strips are placed on a piece of cotton, overlapping each strip and then repeating the same thing vertically. The setup is then covered with another cotton sheet and the whole thing is placed under a press and then left to dry in the sun. After 30 days, the papyrus sheet is very strong and it can be used to write on.
So strong also? Strong, because you want, yeah. Also you can roll it, you can fold it, nothing happens. Also if you like to write, you need to accept.
Design for their own imagination. And others, of course, got their own factors to work for. So if you back to the next unit,
welcome to Sar Bazaar in Giza. Telephone number 3831-402. Easy to know. Make you 120% reduction here.
The Valley Temple of Khafre once contained 58 statues, like the one we saw in the museum. 4 colossal sphinxes, each measuring 25 feet long, once flanked the entrance. The internal walls of the temple are made from red granite blocks from Aswan. Our guide shows us a giant block with 7 corners.
Seven corners. So imagine how good they were, and just have a look, imitating the door, or hinges, I think.
Yeah. Oh, but think of the number of ones wasted that's out in the back. You know.
The seconds.
Yeah, the second.
The sloped ramp leading out of the temple is also lined with precisely fit red granite blocks. The royal causeway leads to another temple at the base of the pyramid and gives us a great view of the Sphinx. Because of the damage caused by erosion, the Sphinx is always being repaired. The repair work is in the form of a limestone brick facade while retaining the original shape, complete with a long lion's tail wrapping around the back. The stonework found here is eerily like the stonework we have seen in Peru, Turkey, and Mexico. Panning across this ancient scene, one can't help but be humbled by the history these treasured sites provide, and to feel a sense of accomplishment to have finally made it to this spot. The biggest surprise was seeing how much Cairo had grown. There were houses and shops within a few hundred yards of the Great Pyramid.
This is yours, sir?
Yes. Why don't you just put it all together?
I know.
I have to count it first.
As they say in America, with a very sharp pencil.
I agree. That's 172. All of it.
That's fine.
That's the one I owe you?
The one you owe me? Yeah, yours cost 100, the one you owe me. You don't walk away with more money than you.
You have to have extra money beside the bottles.
I think it's not your lucky day.
No, I should have got my matcha, huh?
So would you like to wrap each in a separate box?
Is that the lowest you can
Yes, that's 7%. This is the lowest I can do. The manager himself can give you 10%. I'm an employee, I can give you 7%.
go? Where is it?
He's gone.
Of course, before you ask. Just before you ask.
No, he's gone.
Do 9.
So,
Can you do 9%?
we're talking 170. All of the stuff.
All right, let's do it. We're done with it, right? Yeah.
Good luck.
Okay.
Good luck. Each is gonna be in a separate box.
Yeah.
Would you like to name them
What
from
we
here?
yes, this is what we're gonna do.
I think it's
هات لي
better.
شوية صناديق
Just
صغيرة
right?
Yeah.
ونحط
Each
فيهم دول.
box, the name of the
وكل واحد عليه ليبل
owner.
أبيض يا محمد.
Okay.
ماشي؟
house.
Yeah, if you don't mind, might as well just.
The next morning, we fly from Cairo to Abu Simbel, 660 miles south and only 20 miles from the Sudan border. This area was known as Nubia. We are flying over Lake Nasser, created when the Nile River was dammed in Aswan for hydroelectric power. The rising water threatened to completely cover the temple complex known as Abu Simbel. Between 1964 and 1968, an international team of experts cut the entire temple into large blocks, dismantled and reassembled it 65 meters higher and 200 meters back from the river, at a cost of $80 million. Our flight path gives us a great view of the site. The two great mounds at the edge of the lake are man-made mountains, built to house the reconstructed temples. A model shows the temple positioned next to the river and the new location, high up on the cliff. The twin temples were carved during the 13th century BC by the pharaoh Ramses II as a lasting monument to himself and his queen Nefertari, to commemorate his alleged victory at the Battle of Kadesh and to intimidate his Nubian neighbors. The facade of the Great Temple is 108 feet high by 125 feet across. 4 colossal statues of Ramses II dominate the space. They are wearing the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt. Situated a short distance away is the temple dedicated to Ramses' favorite wife, Queen Nefertari. In a niche above the doorway stands the sun god, a falcon-headed representation of Ramses holding a war scepter. The doorway leads into a grand hall which is 52 feet wide by 57 feet high and 185 feet deep. The Grand Hall is supported by 8 pillars carved in the image of Ramses II.
The 8 statues you see here all represent Ramses II, closing his arms to his chest, the feet close together. This is the form of Osiris, god of the dead, god of the afterlife.
The wall reliefs show scenes from the Battle of Kadesh. Other walls depict the king slaughtering captives in front of the god Amun-Ra and storming a fortress with 3 of his sons.
Now we are in the sanctuary, the Holy of Holies. It's the smallest part of the temple, but it was the most sacred part. Was opened only for the high priest and the king. The high priest was making the daily ceremonies here. There are 4 statues represent the gods of the temple. From the right, Ra-Urakhti, god of the rising sun, Ramses II, the king who built the temple. He's shown as a god here. Amun-Ra, the sun god, God Betah, god of underworld and darkness. The interesting thing in this temple, that the light of the sun illuminates here twice a year. The first rays at 6 o'clock in the morning, coming through the door, shines on the statues for 20 minutes. At the ancient location, that was happening on 21st of February and 21st of October. After moving the temple up here, it changed into 22nd of February and 22nd of October. It's 64 meters higher. It made 1 day later. And the sun shines only on the 3 statues on the right. Ra, Ramses, and Amun. They had connection with the sun worship. It doesn't shine on Betah, who considered to be god of darkness.
These walls depict Ramses II and various gods in low relief. Horus, the falcon-headed god with a solar disk over its head, is very dramatic. The small temple commemorates Ramses' favorite wife, Nefertari. At the entrance stand 6 statues, each 33 feet high, cut from the rock face. 4 are of Ramses and 2 are of Nefertari. The temple is dedicated to the goddess Hathor, represented as a woman with the ears of a cow. The large relief carvings depict Ramses making an offering to Khnum, the ram-headed god associated with irrigation and inundation. Queen Nefertari is also depicted making an offering to the god Hathor, shown seated on a throne wearing the solar disk and cow horns.
You have to know that there were Nefertari and Nefertiti. Nefertiti was the wife of King Akhenaten, the mother-in-law of Tutankhamun. It's Nefertiti, but Nefertari, the wife of Ramses II. They were from different generations.
And now let's have a look at the secret behind this man-made mountain. We enter a maze-like concrete tunnel, which takes us deep inside the mountain. Once inside the mountain, the tunnel opens up into a giant dome, an incredible feat of engineering and construction. The dome supports the temple facade, while internal panels were used to support the inner sanctuary. A catwalk around the edge of the dome leads us to another tunnel out the back of the mountain. In Aswan, we board a Faluca for a sail around the nearby islands. The riverbank was lined with giant river boats like the one we will be on for the next few days.
I believe that it was one of the palaces of King Farouk, the king of Egypt. Death on the Nile of Agatha Christie was filmed there. It's wonderful. This one is wonderful. It's a 5-star hotel. Just have a look at the classical style, huh? You see the rocks, especially in night time, when the lights come from the rocks to the terrace. Just have a look at the terrace. It's fantastic. This is the old one. The new one is the white one, the new Cataract. The two are 5-star hotels.
The name is Cataract.
Cataract. Yeah, it's one of the, no, it's not the island. This is the east side of the Nile. This is an island, and this is the west side of the Nile. Really couldn't shoot as one of the best boats I've been working with.
The view over the Nile in Aswan is incredible. The dry desert air and ideal temperatures make this oasis a must-see. The next day, our guide takes us to an ancient quarry where all the red granite used to build temples, statues, and obelisks came from. The visit is highlighted by the unfinished obelisk, the largest ever attempted. It developed cracks during its construction, and it's still attached at the bottom. It would have stood 137 feet high and weighed 1,168 tons. The base measures 14 feet across. The obelisk was the symbol for the sun god Ra. The sun god Ra was thought to have created himself out of nothing, and after that he created the whole world. So when we look at an obelisk, the pyramid-shaped top was the throne for the sun god Ra. The red granite was very hard to work and must have taken a very long time to prepare a block for its trip to a far-off temple site, carried by boat during the flooding of the Nile. The site shows us the ancient Egyptian stoneworking techniques, with marks from workmen's tools still clearly visible. We can climb down into one of the cuts to see how tight the working conditions were. If you're really into it, you can walk on top of the obelisk by crossing a small stone bridge. I guess they figured you can't hurt it. Back on board our taxi boat, we are off again, enjoying the beautiful dry desert air and peaceful surroundings. Our next stop will be to one of the best preserved temples in Egypt, not far from Aswan. This temple, like Abu Simble, had to be completely disassembled and moved to this new location.
This temple is one of the best temples because it covered 4 periods, 4 eras. Egyptian, what I mean by Egyptian is the old Egyptian, the pharaonic, Egyptian, Greek, Roman and Christian temple. This is the temple dedicated to goddess Isis. Each temple must be dedicated, must be specialized for the cult of one of the gods or goddesses. When the Greeks came here to Egypt, they found this area, which is Nubia. Nubia is the area between Egypt and the Sudan, who black people were living here. So they found that Egypt was, goddess Isis was deified in Egypt as well as in the Sudan. So they dedicated this temple to goddess Isis to be deified in this temple. This is Philae temple, okay? This area was known as the Pier of Egypt because a lot of trees, a lot of plants were in the area here making a cheerful view. So it was known as a part of the paradise. Language. Pylon or pylon is the entrance, the gate for any temple. This entrance all the time, 2 towers, the left hand side tower and the right hand side tower, and the gate is in between. We call this a pylon or a pylon. So this is the first pylon of this temple. We're now standing about 100 meters away.
The Corinthian-style columns on the left, a Greek-Roman style composed of floral designs on the capitals, was probably built by this familiar emperor. The wall behind the columns shows the Roman Emperor Nero presenting 2 eyes to the falcon-headed god Horus. Nero is shown as the pharaoh of Upper and Lower Egypt, with 2 cartouches above the head. A short distance away, we enter a room called Mamizi.
We call it Mamizi. Mamizi is a classical Christian expression. Means Ma is place, Mizi is birth. So Mamizi is the place of birth. 3 chambers, 3 rooms. The first one, which is not decorated. The second one, we're now standing inside. The third one, we're going to see now. We've seen the Egyptian before. The entrance of the temple was pharaonic. We've seen the Roman, which is the colonnade. If you remember, we've seen the Greek, the pylon. The pylon, the gate was from the Greek time. What about the Christian? I would like you, and this is very important, to distinguish between the cross and the ank. Here you'll find 2 crosses are chiseled. Just have a look that side. Have a look at this cross. This is a real cross. It's not the ank. And that's why I asked you if you know the Ankh or not, because I'm going to explain to you the Ankh now. This is a real cross was chosen in the time of Justinian. You know Justinian? The Roman emperor in the 5th century AD. This part of the temple was converted into a Christian basilica, was converted into a church, and a lot of prayers were presented or were offered here inside these two lines are the two main branches of the Nile. All Egyptians from the old Egyptian time believed that water of the Nile given life. No water, no life. As we are nowadays, Egyptians believe the same. So this is the course of the Nile. So it's a symbol of a life. We call it key of a life, Ankh or Ankh. So this is key of a life, and the other one was inside the sanctuary, Holy of the Holies. This is the most important place inside any temple. Any temple, because this place was not allowed for anyone to be inside but only two, the king and the high priest. The common people were allowed to be inside the open court only, which is made out of granite. I would like to tell you something, because we'll see a lot like this. Any piece of monument which is made out of granite must be taken from the quarry that we've seen before. Even in Cairo, even in Central Park in New York, even by the Thames in London, even in Place de la Concorde in Paris, even in Vatican in Rome in Italy, even in Istanbul in Turkey. All such obelisks were taken from Egypt. I'm going to show where I mean to be taken from, okay? Upon this pedestal, there was a sacred board. This sacred board was made out of wood. Upon this sacred board was the statue of the god. What is the name of the god deified in this temple?
Ra? No? Isis.
Good, good. She's a goddess. She's a goddess. Is the name for the king and the queen only. Not the god, not the goddess. All the time, we must find two cartouches, either in front of the head of the king or the queen, or above the head. If the two cartouches were behind the head, couldn't be the king, couldn't be a queen, could be anyone else. So the king or the queen only, two cartouches in front of the head, or above the head. What about the god? Like Isis, the god or the goddess, the name is to be written in hieroglyphic in front of the face, but not in a cartouche. So how can you tell with experience? For example, Isis is all the time with the sun disk called the two horns. So this is Isis. Horus is all the time the falcon-headed god. Osiris is with a burnt beard like this, holding flail and scepter. So by experience, you know, one of the Greek kings, he's presenting 4 jars, 1, 2, 3, 4 jars in front of the goddess Isis. Goddess Isis as the mother, and the one in front of her is the king of Upper and Lower Egypt, wearing the double crown. He's suckling at the face of his mother, a cartouche together with us. This is the letter P in hieroglyphic, okay? P, and this is T, half moon or half the sun disk. P, T. You see the line? The line is the letter L. So P, T, L, tel, okay? And this is M, okay? Telem. This is W, telem, okay? Here, if you have a look at this letter, this is I. When you put 2 like this, that means Y. Okay? So one of them is I or E, and 2 together are Y. So Ptolemy, and this is the S, Ptolemies. Ptolemies is one of the titles of the Ptolemies, you know? Like, Ptolemies are the successors of Alexander the Great. Okay? So Ptolemies is one of the names of the Greek kings. So as you find in the temple, she is protecting her husband with her 2 wings, and this is the king. How do you know that this is the king? 2 cartouches, and this is a god or a goddess. Good, and he's presenting offering in front of the goddess Isis and her husband god Osiris. We're preparing a plot against him. They wanted to get rid of him according to the legend. What to do? He created a goddess from one of his 2 eyes. This goddess called Hathor, Hathor. She was the wife of Horus. He gave her instructions to kill all the people. Hathor came to this temple. This temple called the temple for goddess Hathor. She began to kill all the people according to the instructions of God Ra. But once God Ra changed his mind, he wanted her to stop killing all the people. He told her to stop. She said no. I'm not going to do. What to do to convince her? He sent a god. He was a dwarf. He sent a god to her called Bes, B-E-S. God Bes, he was the god of joy. He was the god of happiness. He was the god of dance. He was the god of singing. And that's what we're going to find here. He began to do everything to make her changing her mind. Everything like what? That God Bes is playing some musical instruments back to that time, like harp. You know the harp? Which is a pure pharaonic musical instrument, like guitar, like beating the tambourine, and to play flute. So that's what we're going to find here. It's an evidence that all Egyptians, as well as architecture, as well as medicine, they were interested and they were really advanced in music. That's what we're going to see now. Okay?
And now the secret about this temple site. In the distance, we can see the top of a cofferdam. This is the original site of Philae Temple. When the Nile River was dammed in Aswan, the temple was permanently flooded. An Italian company, with funding from UNESCO and the Egyptian government, disassembled the temple and reassembled it on this nearby island, more than 40,000 pieces in all. And here is Ari enjoying her 5 minutes of happiness on a boat.
Ombo. 219 BC, I'm sorry, 181 BC before Christ till 219 ED. So 400 years to be built and to be finished. It's a long time for a temple to be built and to be finished. all the temples in the old Egyptian time, each temple must be dedicated, must be specialized for the cult of a certain god or a goddess. Like Philae temple, who gonna say who is the name of the goddess deified in Philae temple?
Isis.
Isis. Isis is the goddess deified in Philae temple. This temple is something unique. It's something that we're not going to see later on. When the Greeks came, when the Romans came to Egypt, they found many double terms, many dual terms in Egypt. Like what? Like the two plants, lotus and, how can I say, papyrus, the two symbols of Upper and Lower Egypt. They found two things, the double crown, the crown of Upper and Lower Egypt. They found many double terms. So they said that we do have to build this temple to be dedicated to two gods at the same time. So if you have a look all together in front of us, we'll find this is just one temple, okay? But seems to be divided into two separate temples. This is the entrance of a separate temple, and the one at your right hand side is the separate of another temple. This temple at your left hand side is dedicated to the falcon-headed god Horus. And this one, the one at your right hand side, is dedicated to the, this is a new god, a crocodile-headed god, Sobek. S-O-B-E-K represents god of the evil. So God Horus, god of the good, at your left hand side, God Sobek, the crocodile-headed god, as god of the evil. Two gods are deified in this temple. Seems to be just one construction, but in fact they are two temples, two separate temples. We are now standing in the open court of the temple. According to the design, according to the plan of any temple in Egypt, we must find something like a pylon. You know the pylon, what does it mean? Or in French, pylon. Pylon is the gate or the entrance of any temple. This is the open court. After or behind the pylon, which if you have a look at your right hand side, you'll find a remaining part of the pylon, because the rest of the pylon was swollen off by the Nile. When the Nile flooded, that was before erecting the high dam. This is the open court, which was allowed for the common people, the public, to be inside at that time. Inside the temples, no one could have the right. No one could be inside the temple. Only two. Who gonna say? The king and the high priest. Because inside is the statue for the god deified. Could be Horus, could be Isis, could be Sobek. So no one could have the right to have a look. No one could have a right to see inside, but only two, the king and the high priest. So the common people are allowed Egypt, you know. He's giving something like a knife in front of the Ptolemy number 12. This one is the father of Cleopatra Cleopatra the 7th, Elizabeth Taylor. This one is Cleopatra the 5th, Cleopatra the mother. This one is Cleopatra number 6, the elder sister, you know. So none of these two figures is of Cleopatra the 7th, the famous one, the one that she ruled Egypt at that time. This is Cleopatra the mother, Cleopatra the elder sister, and this is the father, the Ptolemy number 12. This one, Horus, is the god of Upper and Lower Egypt. He's giving something like a knife to help the king to make a control upon the enemy. Now, I will show you a traditional figure or traditional scene. We call it purification scene. This one is the best that we're going to see here. It's the best because really it seems to be carved today. How did I say, or why did I say that this one is the king, not this one or that one? Where? Above. I said that for a king or a queen, we must find two cartouches, either in front of the head or above the head. If they are behind the head, couldn't be the king. What about the god, like this one or a goddess? No cartouche. The name is written in front of the face, but no cartouche. We know them by experience. This one is Horus, the falcon. This one is the ibis. God of what? Literature, wisdom, and writing down. Anyway, this one is the king of Upper and Lower Egypt. Is between two gods. Horus, the falcon-headed god, god of the sky, and the ibis-headed god. You see this bird in Aswan, the white bird with the long beak, ibis, or the ibis. This god is god of wisdom, is the god of literature. The two are purifying. They are purifying the king of Upper and Lower Egypt. They are not purifying him with water, but they are purifying him with two signs. One of them is the Ankh. What does it mean, the Ankh? Key of a life. This is key of a life or life. This one is was. Was in hieroglyphic means prosperity. So as if the two gods are giving the king life and they are giving him prosperity. This is something symbolic. We call it purification seal. Horus, third god of literature and the king of Upper and Lower Egypt. Okay? Friends, we're interested in architecture, in medicine, as well as astronomy. All Egyptians They had their own old Egyptian calendar at that time. 360 days plus 5 birthdays. These 5 birthdays or 5 extra days, God Osiris, Goddess Isis, God Set, God of the evil, Goddess Nephthys, and finally Horus, the falcon-headed god. Of the birthday of each one of these 5 gods considered to be an extra day, to be finally 365 days. 12 months. Each month 30 days, but each month 3 weeks. That means each week is 10 days. What about the seasons at that time? There were 3 seasons only. I'll tell you 2, and you're gonna tell me the last one because it's logically. The first season is flood season, inundation season. The second season is cultivation season. So the third season is harvest season. Let's have a look now at what some historians believe that it's the old Egyptian calendar. If we come close that side, we'll find the line. This one means 1 a day. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 6 days. You see the letter U upside down like the horseshoe, huh? This is upside down means 10. So we've got 6 and 2 tens, huh? This is the day number 26. You see the moon or the sun, this is the number of the day, like the 21st day, the 22nd day, the 23rd. So this is the 26th day, huh? The day number 26. What about this day? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 tens, the 27th, the 28th. Okay? Have a look at these 2 U upside down 2 tens. So this 20. This one is 9. So 29th is the end of a month and beginning of another month. These lion's head goddesses, 1, 2, 3, are 3 symbols for the 3 seasons: inundation, cultivation, and harvest season. It's time now to have a look in front. Used no cement, used no material for building at that time, but sticking the blocks together. Mortise and tenon, it's an English expression. Is it mortise or mortise?
Mortis.
Mortise and tenon. 2 things to be stuck together like this one. So here, it's a piece of a hardwood sycamore. You know sycamore wood? Sycamore wood to connect between, to link between the blocks. This is not only in the lower register, but getting higher and higher. Imhotep, he was an architect, engineer. Later on, in the Greek time, he was identified as god of the medicine, god of the healing. So here we'll find Imhotep seated as a god of medicine, as a god of healing. And in front of him is the famous Roman Emperor Trajan or Trajan. This is the Roman Emperor Trajan, and this is God Imhotep, God of the healing or God of the medicine. Not this one is God of the medicine, this one is God of the medicine.
But the Trojan.
Yeah, the Trojan. Here we'll find the first medical instrument list in the whole world, like a prescription. Just have a look at the prescription, this one first. And underneath, when you go to doctor clinic, you know, for example, before and after operations, purifying, washing in the hands, that side. Here, if you just have a look to this medical instrument list, just have a look inside. You'll find divided into sections. You can guess, you can see some, medical instruments like the forceps, the scissor, the air cups, the scale, the bandage. Okay, that side, if you have a look, you'll find goddess Isis. This goddess, seated in this position. As we've seen before, the queen in that time, any mother, when giving birth, so as to relieve the pain of any mother giving birth using this position. That I believe that is deep sunken relief. And this is offering table. You see, here is the king presenting water and offering table. What is upon the offering table? Everything to be eaten, like fish, fruits, bread. Everything to be drunk, like libation. You see libation? He's offering water and like some jars in front of the god. The hands of the enemies. Just have a look at the lion. So the lion is accompanying the king in his military expeditions. This is something symbolic, okay? So the lion, the king who's in the upper register, and here are the captives at that time. Okay. Inside, 3 original mummified crocodiles represent the god, Sovic god of the evil at that time.
Central Park?
It's a little bit different than Central Park.
Waterfront.
Oh, not very far.
Down here.
Right-hand side, and this is the local market for people, vegetables, fruits. That's the style of the taxi. All the cars are, they are trying to open from the back. Word. This temple is a pure Greek temple. We've seen before Philae temple, Egyptian, Greek, Roman Christian temple. Ombo was a Greco-Roman temple. This temple is a pure Greek temple. It was built 237 BC before Christ and finished 57 BC, 180 years nearly, to be built and to be finished. The last one building this temple was Ptolemy number 12, the father of famous Queen Cleopatra II. This temple is Edfu temple. This temple, or this part that we're now standing inside, we call it pronaos. If any one of you is interested in Greek language, pronaos or pronaos means Hebrew-style hall or the front chamber leading to the inner part of any temple. Something like this in As if you would like to say, this temple is dedicated to you, God Horus. I built this temple to you to be specialized for you. And it's like any temple. It's the most completely preserved sanctuary. Upon this pedestal, which is made out of great granite from Aswan quarry, there was a sacred boat made out of wood. Upon the sacred boat of this pedestal, there was the statue of a god. What is the name of this god here? Horus, the Faluca god. What about this shrine? We call it Naus. So inside was the god, the statue of the god himself. So the time of the festival, the time of the celebrations, the high priest come here and hold this statue upon his breast. It is to be open and to be closed. When the time and when they transport this sacred boat upon the shoulders, have a look at the two arms. You see the two arms? See the two arms to be placed upon the shoulders of the priest like this procession, okay? So when God Osiris or Osiris, his brother God Set, this is very important. Set or Seth, S-E-T-H, he was God of evil. God of evil became jealous. He wanted to get rid of his brother because his brother was beloved from the people, but he was disliked from the people. He invited many friends to a party, and in the party he declared that if anyone gets inside this coffin, he would take the coffin, because this coffin or that coffin was inlaid with precious and semi-precious stones. When God Osiris, his brother, God of the good, got inside the coffin, they shut up the door and threw it into the Nile. Is it clear till now? So God said, God of the evil, killed his brother, God of the good. Goddess Isis, the wife of God Osiris, became anxious. She wanted to know where is her husband. She managed to find him. According to the legend, saying that Goddess Isis took a seed from her husband, and that's why she became pregnant. She became pregnant of their son, God. Who is the name of the god? The son of Osiris and Isis? Horus. So that's God Horus. Goddess Isis wanted to bring her son up away of the eyes of his uncle so as not to harm him. So she brought her son up in the delta. When Horus became a man, there was a battle. There was a conflict between Horus as god of the good and Set as god of the evil. this temple, Esna, is a Greek-Roman temple. According to the design, according to the plan of any temple, the pylon, the gate, and then the open court, and then Hebrew-style hall of the columns, and we are now standing in the open court of the temple, and we have only hall of the columns, nothing behind and nothing that side. Where is the pylon, the gate of this temple, and where is the sanctuary of this temple? We have two opinions. Some people say that they were destroyed. They were destroyed and nothing remained like this. Some people say no, they were not destroyed. They were buried under the modern houses. So behind you is the pylon, till now exists. And behind this one is this level of ground. This level of ground was the original level of ground back to thousands of years ago. You know, when the Nile flooded, make courses of mud brick. Have a look at your right hand side or at your left hand side. This level, it's about 15 or 20 meters high at the modern level. Discovered by the soldiers of Muhammad Ali. You know Muhammad Ali? Yeah, by the soldiers of Muhammad Ali. It was used as a gunpowder store, you know? It was used as a headquarter, something like this. So it was discovered by Muhammad Ali, but before that, it was covered like this. Temple is Khunum. This temple is Khunum. Khunum is the ram-headed god. He's the god of creation, okay? This temple is dedicated to god Khunum. So Khunum is deified in this temple with two wives. One of them is that one at your left-hand side, the lioness head goddess. You see this goddess at the head of the lioness? This statue is made out of gray granite from Aswan. This goddess called Minhit. Minhit is one of the two wives of god Khunum, the other one called Niptu. So this temple is dedicated to the ram-headed god Khunum, or Khunum is the god of creation. So let's have a look.
The floral details on top of these columns are so sharp that they appear to have been cut recently. Every one has a different pattern. Here the king is presenting an offering to the ram-headed god Khnum, god of creation. Behind Khnum is one of his wives, Menhit. In the register above, we can find the now familiar god Horus, with the ibis-headed god. On the ceiling, we can find the painted scene of the solar bark of the sun god Ra. In front of the sun god Ra, there are many gods and goddesses presented in high relief. A close-up view of the columns shows some of the original colors painted thousands of years ago. Get in his way or something?
the queens of the new kingdom. We have 3 kingdoms in Egypt: Old Kingdom, Middle Kingdom, and New Kingdom. New Kingdom are the dynasties number 18, 19, and 20 exist in this area. When I say value for the queens, that means the queens were paired with 2 kinds of queens. A queen to be taken over, to be ruling the country like Hatshepsut and Cleopatra VII, and queen to be just a wife, like the majority, like Nefertiti and Nefertari. They were just wives and mothers for the children. Here, if you just have a look at the tomb that you're going to see now, it is the tomb of someone called Amenhotep. Amenhotep, he was a prince. He was the son of King Ramses III. So did I say this is value for the princes, value for the children, or value for the queens? I said value for the queens. What do you think is the reason for making such a child to be buried in this one? We've got 2 reasons. First of them could be buried beside or close to his mother. The second one, which we're sure about, could be because of the sudden death. The prince died suddenly, so this one was prepared for a queen to be buried inside. Because of the sudden death, he was buried in that one.
While driving to our next stop, we pass a small village. Our guide explains that a lot of these families are multimillionaires. Their houses are built above a lot of tombs and temples. If you look closely, you may see a mound of dirt where a tomb was excavated, and the contents sold to a thriving antiquities market all over the world. There are still a lot of treasures to be discovered in this area. Alabaster comes in different colors depending on where it was found, from white to brown honey and sometimes dark green. The raw stones are carried by donkey from 70 miles away, a round-trip journey of 4 to 5 days. The raw pieces are then shaped with a hammer. The hole is not drilled right away because it will break. First, the stone will be left in the sun to harden. Then a series of blades are used to open a hole in the vase. The vessel is then worked again with files and polished with a stone tool to give it a nice finish. After polishing, the vessel is placed in an oven at 150 degrees for half an hour and then moved outside to cool.
That's a nice shape, man. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful shape.
Very much. Because the Burkina Faso will not cost so much. Very little store. What are making here? But you found this anywhere.
Yeah?
Yes, machine made everywhere.
But this only.
What is it? It's very interesting.
Anybody want to have some cold drink? We have cold drink.
That's an interesting shape.
You can see that one.
I like that. I like the smaller.
Yeah.
I do like this bowl, but this is a good cereal.
Very good cereal bowl.
When our boat arrived in Luxor, we transferred to a ferry, which took us to the west side of the Nile. We are visiting Hatshepsut's temple. During our climb to the temple site, we walked through the back lot and staging area for the Egyptian opera Aida. It's rumored that Omar Sharif will be in attendance. As we approach the temple, its unique three-tiered design comes into focus. Two enormous ramps connect the three levels. The approach to the temple was once lined with sphinxes, carved in her image, like the one we saw in the Cairo Museum. The temple was discovered buried in sand, and everything had been intentionally smashed into pieces. The prime suspect is Thutmose III, who took revenge on his stepmother after her death, because she had taken over the throne that he was destined to inherit.
In the valley of the kings, in the valley of the kings,
The temple is dedicated to Hathor and Amun-Ra. Along the front of the upper terrace, a line of large, gently smiling Osiris statues of the queen looked out over the valley.
turn their dreams right into gold. Could he turn their worlds around, around? And if he does, he'll keep it on. Then he'll stash it underground.
Painted scenes vividly depict the queen's achievements during her 21-year reign. In 1967, a group of Egyptologists and restoration experts from Italy and Poland managed to restore the temple. From the terrace, we get a good look at the opera set and a final look at this magnificent site. Our next stop is in the Valley of the Kings, where new discoveries are still being made. When we were there, we found out that KV5 had recently been reopened and the clearing had begun. It is the largest tomb ever uncovered, with over 120 corridors and rooms built for the many sons of Ramses II. All the temples we have seen so far have had only one pylon or gate. This temple has 10 pylons. This is the biggest and greatest temple in the whole world. All the temples and shrines inside this complex are dedicated to the god Amun-Ra. At the entrance to the temple, we find the Avenue of the Sphinxes. This avenue was built by Ramses II. There are 30 dynasties in Egyptian history. This temple was built from dynasty number 12 to dynasty number 25, more than 1,100 years to be finished. Ramses the Great ruled Egypt for 67 years. He had 195 daughters, 134 sons, and 44 wives. It's hard to find a temple that doesn't have his name chiseled on it. That doesn't mean that he built the temple, but he was a selfish man, and he wanted to commemorate his name by writing it everywhere. There were 4 great obelisks taken from this site, which are now displayed in Europe, America, and Turkey. There is one in Central Park in New York City. The matching one is still here. There is one in London, another in St. Peter's Square, the Vatican, Rome, and one in Istanbul, Turkey. The one that's found in Paris was taken from Luxor Temple, a short distance away.
Pair of obelisk. I'm not going to talk about this one, but let's have a look at the best one, at the greatest obelisk in the whole world, which is the obelisk of Queen Hatshepsut. Let's have a look. Covered, the top was covered with electrum, gold and silver. So the top is so the top is shining, you know. See, it is yellowish in color. The color is yellow. This is the sanctuary, the most important, the most sacred place inside any temple. Upon this pedestal was a sacred board made out of wood. Upon the sacred board was the statue. What is the name of the god deified in this temple? Amun-Ra. That's Amun-Ra. Amun-Ra is the god deified in the temple. I will ask you when the king getting inside to present an offering. That's the sacred board and the statue is facing me. I am the king or I am the high priest, okay? 2 only could be inside. So, in respectful way, so presenting offerings. When I finish burning the incense and presenting offering, I didn't turn around. But back in the same way, returning in the same way, I got inside, removing the footprints. Why? This is the most, or the cleanest place, you know, in any temple. I'm telling you something interesting. This sanctuary was built by an Egyptian king, King Thutmose III, and the one who completed the construction called Philae. What do you think is the nationality of Philae? Don't say French, because no French at that time. No Europe, no American. Yeah.
He's from New York, wasn't he?
No, he's not from New York. So Philae?
Greece.
Greek. He was a Greek. He was the half-brother of Alexander the Great, the one who founded my original city, Alexandria. You know Alexander the Great? So, when the Greeks came to Egypt, they were not our friends. They were enemies, huh? They were invaders. So, as a policy, he was so intelligent, Alexander the Great. He said that we must come close to the Egyptians to pretend that we deify your divinities. You deify God Amun-Ra? Yes, we also deify God Amun-Ra. So, what is the evidence? Philip Archides completed this construction and put his name in it as if he's deifying something like this, you know? So that was the point as a policy at that time. Okay? So this one is an Egyptian Greek style. Okay? In hieroglyphic here, in the shaft of this obelisk as well as the other one. Hatshepsut telling us the story, she's saying that they took me 7 months. She means the 2 obelisks. They took me 7 months of hard work to be cut from the quarry in Aswan, to be transported upon a sailing boat from Aswan to Luxor, to be erected in Luxor, took me 7 months.
The sacred lake was connected to the river Nile by an underground tunnel. The sacred lake was used for many functions. The king and the high priest used it to purify themselves with the water of the Nile. A sacred boat carrying the golden image of the pharaoh could be seen floating here. Birds such as ducks and geese swam here as solid offerings to the gods. Behind me is another masterpiece, the sun god Ra in the form of a scarab beetle, representing the rising sun. It was constructed by King Amenhotep III on the occasion of his marriage. So that's why some people believe that if you walk around the statue 7 times, it will bring you good luck.
And if he has a bad luck, his luck will be changed to a good luck. That's 7 times.
Honestly, I've done it 7 million times. No merit and no good luck. I don't know why, yeah? So it's time now doing 7 times. Go! Go! 7 times. I appreciate this. Thanks a lot. Was built by 2 kings only. Amenhotep III and the dynasty number 18, and King Ramses II and the dynasty number 19. 2 kings only building these temples. He's doing what? If we count together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Slaughtered upside down cows. You see the cows?
Yeah.
Slaughtered to be represented in the horizon. And this one is Alexander the Great as a pharaoh, as Egyptian king. Have a look at the difference between the 2 styles, Allah Khalil. Deep sunken relief, you see the deep sunken relief, and the high relief. Here the Egyptian artist has done what? Make the guidelines, you see the guidelines first, and then removing the surrounding parts to be clear to the eye to see. But the Greek-Roman artist has done, or the Egyptian artist in the Greek-Roman time, has done what? Make the guidelines and carving inside, you know, and leave it as it is. So this one is much harder than this one. Is it right? Yeah, this is the high relief, this is the deep sunken relief. Egyptians, and that's why it's represented as a male and a female at the same time. He's bending between lotus and papyrus, as if he's making what? Unification or uniting or union between Upper and Lower Egypt. Finally, we will have a look at King Ramses II statues with the attitude, with the serious attitude. Why does he advance the left leg? The left leg, which is equal to the west side, as if he would like to go to the west side, looking for resurrection, looking eternally. He would like to live forever eternally. Once again, or another explanation, by advancing the left leg, that means making a balance of the statue. Once again, by advancing the left leg, supporting the heart. Finally, by advancing the left leg, as it is a military march, or a military march, you know. Nowadays, in police, in army, when they begin to march,
Here was conceived and lived the great week of the creation of the world and the separation of the earth from the waters. You are at the house of the Father.
Each pharaoh thought of himself as a son and wished to leave his mark upon it.
Each added, superimposed, overdid, outdid, through a span of 20 centuries.
The result is this fabulous labyrinth of facades and passages, esplanades and corridors, perspectives and detours, to which only priests and pharaoh had access.
The vade-mecums, the guidebooks for the journey which accompanied the mummy, are called Book of the Dead, Book of the Gateways, Book of the caverns, book of the night. They are the only books ever to attempt to produce maps of the other world.
And it was upon this land, where the swarms of wild duck alighted, the only land above the floodwaters, that men have built the city of God to the glory of his creation.
Time of its full splendor, this citadel could only be reached by a royal canal and a sacred avenue. The pharaoh, aboard his barge of glory, could moor here, welcomed on the holy quayside in the shade of the sycamores by the pontiff and his numberless retinue of priests with their feather fans.
It has been said that Thebes was the first city, the city of cities. Homer named it the city of 100 gates. For 100 trumpets sounded its fame.
And what did the archaeologist Champollion say?
Thebes is the greatest word in any language.
His name is Tutankhamun.
His makeshift tomb was dug in the very floor of the Valley of the Kings. Over there.
It escaped the looters for 3,000 years. And in 1922, everything was there.
The sarcophagi, one inside the other. The statues, the jewels of gold, the sacred and profane furniture, the alabasters, the porcelains, that prodigious treasure that still draws the crowds, and that mask encrusted with lapis lazuli and cornelian, which stares at us from the depths of the night with the enigmatic smile of an immortal young man.
The king Ramses the Great is crossing the two arms in the Osirian form. Between his legs is one of his daughters. This is the greatest hippo-style hall in the whole world. 134 columns exist in this room. One side of the room was constructed by Seti I during dynasty number 19. The other side was added by his successor, King Ramses II. Twelve of the columns are 70 feet high, towering over the other columns to support a series of windows to allow light and air into the inner part of the temple. The columns depict offerings that King Ramses II is presenting to Amun-Ra. Back in Cairo, we hire a taxi to take us back to the Giza Plateau to see the Great Pyramids up close and even go inside one of them. As we approach the Giza Plateau, we can see the Great Pyramid appear from behind the nearby buildings. A small section of the original casing stone still remains intact and showed the precisely cut blocks laid down 5,000 years ago.
Uncle Larry.
Your favorite nephew.
Uncle.
Yeah.
Uncle.
At the base of the Great Pyramid, we find the building housing the excavated and reassembled royal boat of the pharaoh. It was found in a long pit, cut into bedrock and covered with large limestone blocks. The prow and stern are in the form of stylized papyrus stalks, essentially a replica of the papyrus reed boats. The boat is 142 feet long and 18 feet wide. It's made from 1,224 individual pieces of cedar from Lebanon. Giant limestone blocks, weighing 20 tons each, were used to seal the pit. The boat pit was carved into bedrock, complete with rabbeted edges to accept the ceiling blocks. Tourists at the Giza Plateau must walk through a gauntlet of vendors, soliciting to be our guides, offering camel rides or horse rides. The tour guide we are following is taking us to see the burial chambers of the pyramid builders. He shows us the hieroglyphs on the red granite slab above the tomb. In the distance, we can see the faint silhouettes of the Saqqara pyramids, predating the ones in Giza. Our guide explains that this chamber belonged to a doctor responsible for mummification. The chamber was cut from the bedrock and was used as sleeping quarters as well as a bank. The small chamber in the back wall was the bank vault. A long time ago, but not now. On our last day in Egypt, we hire a taxi to take us to see the City of the Dead. On the way there, we see a side of Cairo we could never have imagined. It wasn't the sheep in the road that surprised us. When we turned the corner, we started seeing roadside displays of red clay pottery of every shape and size, and the most primitive conditions we have ever seen. The black smoke emitted by the hundreds of kilns is a major source of air pollution in Cairo. The other businesses in the area sell such things as alabaster dust, cobblestones, roofing tiles, and cement products. Because of Egypt's chronic housing shortage, an estimated 5 million people have taken up permanent residence in Cairo cemeteries, now called the City of the Dead. For many Caironese, the City of the Dead is a mysterious, foreboding area. They are aware of its existence, but few understand this group of vast cemeteries that stretch along the base of the Muqattam Hills. Previous Cairo rulers from the Arab conquest, such as the Fatimids, the Ottomans, and Muhammad Ali, chose the area for their tombs, outside the crowded city. The cemetery contains above-ground burial crypts, surrounded by a stone building used by the family during the mourning period. Our taxi driver takes us to the mausoleum of Muhammad Ali and his family. Muhammad Ali ruled Egypt from 1805 to 1848. Behind heavy bronze doors, we are led to the central chamber, decorated with beautiful marble panels and an impressive domed roof. The large central crypt is for Muhammad Ali's mother. The slab extending above is adorned with a braided ponytail, signifying that this is for a woman. The adjoining room is entered through another ornate bronze door. This is where the son of Muhammad Ali is found. Through an open window, we can see many other crypts for the extended family. The word Pasha is a Persian term meaning king and was associated with a high rank in the Ottoman Empire's political system. In the distance, we can see the minarets and dome of the Muhammad Ali Mosque, located inside the Citadel, one of Cairo's most popular attractions. Just below the Citadel, we stop to see a mosque constructed with the white casing stones from the Great Pyramid. The Citadel has been a strategic military fortress for 800 years and is one of the world's greatest monument to medieval warfare. Situated high above Cairo, the Citadel functioned as a royal city, surrounded by walls rising 30 feet high and 10 feet thick, with great round towers built protruding from the walls so that defenders could direct flanking fire on those who might scale the walls. A well shaft inside the fortress is 285 feet deep, hand-cut through solid rock to reach the water table. The well was large enough to have a ramp inside, so that animals could be brought down to power the machinery that lifted the water out. And so we have finally seen Egypt, both the old and the new, the good and the bad, and we are grateful for the safe journey provided by our guides. From the chaos of Cairo to the grandeur of Karnak and the solitude of Aswan, the contrasts were startling.